Hello, everybody. Good to be with you. So you'll notice that we're in HD now, unbelievably, and I have gone to school, so to speak, and with one of my clients, and found out how I could bring you HD on YouTube, and hopefully I am, because it's a good thing for you. It's just not a good thing for me. It's not a good thing for me because when I sat down to cut this video, I noticed that, my God, I could see every hair, like I just didn't shave, and you could see every hair. It was just, and I went, my God, could you at least appear to be less of an old drunk than you really are? And so I had to get up and shave, man. I mean, I hadn't had a drink in 20 years. I don't like to look like I just getting over a bender now. So, welcome. If you're tuning in to get your daily dose of mysticism, well, just click my ass off. Because that's not what you're going to get here. All you're going to get here is plain old Fred, right? This is not an Eastern spiritual teaching. This is not a Western spiritual teaching. Neither one will have me. So I'm having to do my own little thing, whatever the hell it is. Well, we're having to do my own little thing out here. And my own little thing out here is called the living method of awakening. And when we talk about awakening, we think about that non-dual shift, don't we? That's what we hear about. It's the big non-dual shift. Oh wow, she was so and so and not doing well in her life, and then she had a big non-dual shift, and everything's been gravy ever since. Yes, we hear a lot about this stuff, but I'm not even talking to you about that kind of awakening. I'm not really talking to you about a spiritual awakening. I'm really talking to you about an intellectual awakening. Now, this goes against the grain of all spirituality, including this one, but if you just bear with me, it's going to make sense. The reason I say it's an intellectual awakening is that what's happening is that the belief is that there's somebody here who needs to have a spiritual awakening. That was my belief. That's the way I felt and I was a seeker for 24 years. So I've got long experience in believing that there was someone here that needed to wake up. But there's not. There's not anyone here, and nothing else has to happen. And here's the remarkable part. The same is true for you. There's nobody over there, and there's nothing else that needs to happen to you. See, I had a client this week, and we started out, and he said, Fred, I'm just not sure that I've really had, the full meal deal. And I said, you know what's stopping you from experiencing true nature right now? And he said, no, what? And I said, the idea that you need to experience something else. That's the only thing that's stopping you. It's the idea that you need to experience something more. Because oneness is going to have a hell of a time finding any more that oneness can experience. I mean, what do you think? Oneness is going to experience something outside of a oneness? Out of oneness? I mean, there's just oneness. Can't happen. But we can think it can. We can make it up. We've made up a character here. But you don't believe it. And I know you don't believe it because I didn't believe it either. And it's really, really obvious, but it's not obvious until it is. They used to tell me, Fred, you're already awake. You just don't know it. And I was like, God almighty, don't tell me that. Please don't tell me that. Because, number one, I know it's not true. And number two, it's not even helpful. Okay? Don't tell me that. Tell me something else. Lie to me in some other way. But the truth is that you do need to wake up. But what I want you to do is I just want you to wake up to one thing. It's just the thing that kicked my ass when I was a practicing alcoholic, speaking of that time of my life. And the thing that really got me was that everybody could see I was alcoholic except for me. It's just like I can see that you are awakeness, but you can't. Right? It's clear as day to me. I can't see anything but myself. You think you're looking at a Fred who's in Fred's house in South Carolina and all this stuff, and on a relative level, there's some truth to that. But from a little bit more absolute level, there's no truth in that. There's no truth in any of it. And sometimes I have people when we're talking, and they'll say, "Do you mean from a non-dual level?" And I said, "Well, what the hell? As long as I'm a non-dual teacher and we're doing non-dual inquiry together, and that makes you a non-dual student, why don't we just talk from the non-dual level?" As if there's any other level. See, non-dual says what? Says not to. So we talk about higher consciousness, don't we? Oh, I can't wait till I experience higher consciousness. That's dualistic, isn't it? There'd be this consciousness and some other, wouldn't there? People shoot me a lot of that too. Big me, little me. Gee, that sounds a lot like two to me. I understand that there can be the sense of that, but that does not have anything to do with whether there's the truth of that or not. When I was, prior to having this going on, I was in a 12-step program for 11 plus years. And during that time, I spent 6 or 7 years, maybe 8, I don't know, but probably 6 or 7. But a long time going out to a treatment center and giving a talk out there on every Thursday afternoon. And here's the way it would work. I'd walk into that treatment center and I would look around, I'd see a bunch of people who were dying, right? Because they're addicts and alcoholics. They're in treatment. You don't get wind up in treatment because people misunderstand you. You don't wind up in treatment because you're unlucky. You wind up in treatment because you're an alcoholic addict and you're dying and you can't see it, but somebody else can. Boom. There it is. So I used to get up in front of them and I used to give them something to agree with right away. I said, they're going to tell you in this center that alcoholism and drug addiction will kill you. I said, I'm here to tell you that it won't. Well, you can imagine the kind of reception that got. Everybody was very happy to hear that they had gotten a reprieve. And I said, and the reason I can tell you this absolutely categorically is that this is a full-blown alcoholic addict. You can't be more alcoholic or have more of an addictive personality than this thing. It's been addicted to everything that ever felt good, and that's a long list. Yet here I am, alcoholic, addict, standing in front of you. My life's going okay. It's going well enough. I can take an afternoon off, come to talk to you. I'm not scroungy. You'll notice that. I didn't hitchhike here. I drove my car. It's not a great car, but it's a nice little car. And I have a decent little apartment. I'm doing okay. I've got a wonderful girlfriend who is now my wife, Betsy. And I got a couple of bad cats. So you can't, now I got a couple of bad dogs. But you can't be more alcoholic than this, and it's not only is it not dying, it's not even suffering. So what's the difference between you and me? And I ask you, dear reader, sound like Charles Dickens or something, but my friend, I ask you, what's the difference between this and that? Well, over here, there's no Fred, just like there's no Bob or Sarah or anything else over there. There's just the Fred unit. We find it like it is, old and kind of beat up. And what I want you to recognize is that, this is what I would tell them, is what you're dying from is not alcoholism or drug addiction. Just like it's not your addiction to thought, it's not your separationalism that's killing you. Really, it is your denial. Hello, everybody. If you are not presently awake to your true nature, that means that you are in denial. If you woke up a week ago and you think you lost it, you're in denial. If you woke up back in the 60s on the beach with a guru, you're in denial. If you think that you're not awake right now, but you're not awake, but don't think you're not awake, because then you've got it completely wrong. But don't think you're awake, because God Almighty, that is absolutely not true. Can't be. Because you're awakeness. And this can't be other than you. See, the one thing going on just leaves one of us. So, this is oneness talking to oneness. I can find nothing outside of awareness, including the so-called finder. This is inside of awareness too. It feels like it's on the outside of awareness, because that's where I don't realize what's happening here. I've spent years and years and years, I did for 24 of them, looking to hook up with oneness, looking to merge with oneness, looking to find awareness, this higher awareness, this magical awakeness. But I'm already it, and I can look as long as I want to. But since I'm already it, I will never, ever be able to find it, and neither will you. So fortunately for me, there's some kind of thing going on here with this living method of awakening, where I'm able to help you see that. I'm trying to get away right now. Because I'm not here to prepare you for waking up later. I'm here to wake you up right here, right now. Because nobody wakes up later. And nobody wakes up over there. Because your oneness, there's no over there. There's only here and now. So it's now or nowhere. I mean, now or never, here or nowhere. That's when you have to wake up, right now. Now, but we're thinking, but Brett, I don't know how to have a big spiritual awakening. So here's the thing. You don't need to have a spiritual awakening. You can just quit lying to yourself intellectually, and the spiritual awakening will happen. And the lie that you're telling yourself is that you need to have a spiritual awakening. That you need something more. That you need something else. That you need to read this book, or go to this class, or talk to this teacher, or go to that retreat, or go sit for 2 years, or go sit for 32 years, or whatever it is. That's not true. There's a woman I just ran across recently. I heard from her yesterday. And she is fully blown awake. She's been awake since she was, she thinks from the womb. I would say from toddler, since she was a toddler, but splitting hairs, so who cares? So she didn't work for this. She didn't even care for this, to tell you the truth, because it made her life quite difficult, because her experience was not like everybody else's. See, she was just left in a position where she couldn't lie to herself. She couldn't be in denial of her true nature. Her true nature was up and at 'em and ready and apparent. And what she noticed was that her true nature was apparently not like everybody else's, because everybody else was having some kind of other experience that she didn't know anything about. She just clear as a damn bell. She said, I want you to be my teacher. And I said, I might let you be mine too. I swear to God, that's what I said. It's, so the idea that you got to go through some process. There's no process to awaken. There's a process of clearing in post-awakening. That's true. There's a path in clearing in post-awakening. I know because I help people with it all the time. That's where I spend most of my time. Most of my little so-called whatever it's worth micro fame comes from waking people up. But I spend most of my time working with people in post-awakening. Why? Because the people that wake up come back. Because it's like, what the hell now? Right? Identification comes back. There's a sense of oscillation. Oneness thinks it fell out of itself. Oneness might think it's lost its connection. What is there other than oneness that oneness could possibly be connected to? Oneness doesn't have any connections, it's just oneness. God almighty. And you, if you're not awake to your true nature at this very moment, are asleep at the wheel. You're asleep, you're in denial. So the waking up I want you to do is I just want you to wake up out of denial. And that doesn't take going to India, it doesn't take going to Peru, it doesn't take taking drugs. It doesn't, I mean, I'm not saying that you shouldn't go to Peru, you shouldn't go to India, and that you shouldn't take drugs. All those things have been fun. I mean, I've not been to India or Peru, but I did my own seeking. And some of it was a hell of a lot of fun, I got to tell you. It was not pointed anywhere near toward waking up, but it was still very enjoyable. Can you say Tantra? So, just wake up already. That's what I'm saying. Just wake up already. What are you waiting for? Why would you wait? I mean, you're suffering. And you don't have to, I don't have to guess at that. If you don't know your true nature right now, you're either consciously suffering or you're lying to yourself. Because you could be in a peak moment, but that ain't gonna last. It'll be right back down here. And even those peak moments, you get to them, first thing you'll notice is that this ain't gonna last forever. And we come right back down here. Over here, there are no peaks and no troughs. It sounds dull, doesn't it? To a character, it is going to sound dull, and it sounds like the last thing that a character wants. What a character wants is it wants action. It wants something to distract it. Why does it want something to distract it? Because consciousness is a burden. It just is. We lock people up in solitary now. We call it torture now. And why is it torture? Because you're locking an insane being up in a room by itself. God almighty. There's nobody in here but me. Right? Oh my God. I can't stand it. Come out of denial. That's what I would do with those alcoholics and addicts, is I was very good at helping pull people out of denial. That's what I was good at. And I was pretty damn good at it too. Well, I mean, it's not like Fred did anything. There's no Fred. But, but that doesn't mean that there's not some ego that won't come in and try to get some pride, and get some, approval is not going to be enough over here. I need applause. So you can applaud my efforts at helping pull people out of denial so that I wouldn't get drunk, because that's what it's about. It's just about that if you get out there in the field after you've gotten clean yourself, and you go out there and you see what people are doing to themselves, you don't ever want to take another drink or a drug. I mean, if that's just the way it worked for me. I can't say it works that way for everybody, but it sure worked for me. And this work, coming out of denial, will work for you too. Because it was 6 years after I sobered up that this happened. It had happened once before, and which is in 2002. No, excuse me, 1992. And I went there again, because guess what I did? I woke up, it was very clear and everything, and it was just great. I mean, wow, this is it, at last. And then I went into denial. for the next 14 years. And for 14 years, I went looking for something else. I went looking for Fred's awakening, because Fred had had an awakening back in 1992 right there in his bed. And it was really something. I wish you'd have been there. I'd like to tell you all about it. God almighty. There is no Fred, folks. There's no Fred. So Fred can't possibly have had an awakening back in 1992. Nobody has ever had an awakening as we think of it prior to awakening. Just can't happen. What happened was in 1992, awakeness had a Fred-free moment. Poof! In the absence of a Fred, there's clarity. When you take away what's false, like a Fred, take away what's false, what's left is truth, right? It doesn't, and you know what? What about I woke somebody up this week, and he said, "Oh my God, there really is only this." And I said, "Yeah, and what can you say about this?" And he said, "I can't say anything about this." I said, "No, that's right." You got it, because you can't, because what you are is prior to language. And language cannot describe that which is prior to it. You are awakeness. You're not an individual human being. You're not a group of human beings. You're not the entire planet of human beings. Well, I mean, you are, but it's not other than you, but it's not equal to you. All of this manifestation, it's not other than you, it's just not equal to you. I'm not going to do it here, but I can promise you that in session and in satsang, I can prove to you that you don't even need this. You see it for yourself. It's not what I tell you. Hell, there is no reason for you to come to these videos and exchange your beliefs for Fred's beliefs. It's just crazy. That would be insane. Because if there was a Fred, he couldn't believe anything that was true either. I mean, he couldn't know anything that was true. I don't know anything at all. I don't even know what I am. And I don't know what's going on here. And as a result of that, I got to tell you, I can't find anything wrong. How about that? No Fred, no problem, no problem, no Fred. You're in denial, awakeness. Awakeness, my dear love. You're in denial. Come on now. Tell yourself the truth. Notice this present awakeness. You see this? You notice this present awareness? You're aware. You can hear this. You're aware. You can see me unless this is the podcast. But either way, you can hear me. You can hear this. So guess what? That means officially that you are awake. But you're in denial. And the reason you're in denial is you're waiting for the character to wake up, and you're waiting for the body to finally get this thing. There's no character, and you're not the body. I can't say you're not the body. You're everything. You're everything, but you're not limited to any one body. You've just been brainwashed into believing that awakeness is just this thing, and for you, it's that thing. You've been trained into believing, brainwashed into believing that thing is an independent thing, and it's not. It's just a vehicle for awakeness to experience itself objectively here on pretend planet Earth. This is virtual. Hello. Hello, this is Virtual Fred talking to Virtual Bob over there. You're in denial, Virtual Bob. You are awakeness. This clarity, this awareness, this plain old everyday right here, right now, stupid as all get out awareness, this is it. Higher consciousness, it's a state. It's a state experienced by something or somebody. And if you have gone into that state, I hate to tell you, but you're coming out of that state. Because it's a state. Which means it comes and goes. Nothing else has to happen. There's nothing else to happen. This is it. You are living your life in rehearsal for the big moment to come. Actually, you're not living your life at all, but that's what you think, so that's what I'll say. You're living your life in rehearsal for that which is great moment, which is to come. And it ain't coming. It ain't coming. Death is coming, but not for you, just for that, this thing. Hell, these things come and go, they're like gnats, right? I can't get attached to any of these things. God almighty. You know, I mean, I can get attached in the sense that I can find them charming. I find this charming. That's how weird a God I am. I find this charming. I find Betsy just absolutely charming, right? It's wonderful. Because I've been trained to believe that I'm one thing and Betsy's another. I didn't marry her because she looks just like me. I married her because she doesn't look just like me. But it's the same oneness. It's oneness we're talking about, not sameness. Sameness is indescribable because there's nothing to go with it. There can't be a one-ended stick. This is relativity. There has to be something in relation to something else. Something in relation to something else. That is, hello? That's relativity. There's no opposite to you. There's nothing to compare you to. That's your problem. Is you in your imagination, you're waiting for you're waiting for the other thing to happen. Oneness is waiting on the other oneness. The whiteness is waiting to wake up. Good luck. So wake up already. Wake up. Come on. Come on in. The water is fine. You are not that body. You are not a Bob or an individual. There are no individuals. There's a sense of individuality, but guess what has it? Oneness. We could go on and on and on, but I'd just be beating a dead horse. But I've been beating this horse for a long time now, and it seems to actually work upon occasion. Is that one of these horses breaks free of the barn, and when it does, it goes, hell, there's no barn. And that's what I've been telling you all along. The gate's open. It's the gateless gate. It's the barnless barn. Come on out, horsey. Well, I love you. Thanks for dropping by. I hope this was entertaining, if not enlightening, but I do hope it was enlightening. Because I'm trying to wake you up right now, but not to a mystical awakeness. I'm trying to wake you up simply from denial. You are oneness, and you are in denial. See you later.